Well, Wisconsin losing to Illinois last week definitely takes some of the shine off of this week's biggest game, Wisconsin versus Ohio State in Columbus. I still think it's going to be a great game, and I don't think Wisconsin is a terrible team just because they lost to Illinois last week. Sometimes we see strange things like this happen, and unfortunately for Wisconsin this year, it happened to them losing unexplainably to a terrible team like Illinois. And we have a whole lot of ranked teams this week playing on the road. We're going to see some upsets this week, I'm 100% certain. In today's video, I'm going to talk about all the games within the top 25 this week and give you a preview and a prediction against the spread. Let's go.
We about to turn it on.
Hey, good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. So thanks for watching, I really appreciate it also. And two, I do a series of preview and prediction videos every single week during the season. On Tuesday, I do the SEC games. Click back to yesterday's video to check that out. Today, Wednesday, I do all the top 25 teams. Then tomorrow, Thursday, I preview teams that didn't fit into either of those two categories. All the numbers, lines, odds, spreads, over-unders, totals, all that stuff that I use in today's video is going to come straight from the website over at betnow.eu. This is the second year in a row I've been lucky enough to work with those guys over there. There's a link in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you to betnow.eu. Sign up for an account over there and enter the promo code Uncle Lou. It's one word, Uncle Lou, and they'll give you a bonus on whatever you deposit. Good luck. All right, we got one Thursday night game this week involving a ranked team. That's SMU. They're a 14.5-point road favorite at Houston. SMU, of course, is ranked 16th and undefeated after beating Temple last week. And Temple's a pretty good group of 5 team too. They were sitting on one loss heading into that game. SMU still undefeated. It looks like SMU's in the driver's seat, I think, to be the group of 5 team that makes the New Year's Six Bowl. We'll see. They play on the road at a disappointing Houston team. Lost their quarterback earlier in the year for no reason at all. The guy just basically threw the towel in and said, forget this, I'm not playing. I'll come back and try again next year. He wasn't hurt. There's nothing wrong with him. Just a very weird situation there. This one comes on 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. You see a lot of weird things happen on weekday games. I talk about it all the time. Yes, SMU is a better team than Houston. Yes, SMU's been playing really well. Yes, Houston has been a disappointment. I'm going to take Houston into 14.5 here. You just see ranked teams lose or struggle, even if they win, on the road in these weekday games way too often for my liking. I can't lay over 2 touchdowns here to SMU, especially coming off of that big last weekend's. Listen, I know it's SMU and Temple, and a lot of you don't too much care. That was the biggest home game SMU's had probably since they were buying players in the early 80s. It was a huge emotional game for them. They got to turn around on a short week and play an in-state rivalry game. Houston, I'm going to take the home team here, Houston, to keep it closer than most people think. Give me Houston into 14.5. All right, on to the Saturday games. Are going to go in chronological order. So if you're looking for a specific game, just figure out what time it's on and forward through the video. But up first, Wisconsin on the road at Ohio State. Wisconsin dropped all the way to 13th after losing to Illinois last week. Ohio State, of course, is up to 3rd in the AP poll. Of course, they're number 1 in the Uncle Lou poll, the only poll that matters. Ohio State clearly been the best team in college football to me so far this year, week in and week out. They haven't had a single week where the offense or the defense played bad. They've been the most complete team. They've dominated every single team they've played. They're a 14.5-point road favorite here, or home favorite, I'm sorry, 12 o'clock on Fox. I'm going to go against my instincts here. I think Ohio State is clearly a better team. I think they're going to win this game. It helps big time that they're at home. I'm still a believer in Wisconsin, though. I don't think the Wisconsin team we saw last week against Illinois is any indication of what we're going to see this week against Ohio State. You still have to remember, Wisconsin has played 7 games. They have 4 shutouts. That's unbelievable. Type about who they played if you want to. I don't care. Chances are, whatever team you're a fan of, you don't have 4 shutouts total in the last decade, much less 4 in this season. It's just very hard to shut teams out. They've done it 4 times. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in America, one of the best offensive players in America. I don't know about Wisconsin's quarterback against this Ohio State defense. I think Ohio State may make Wisconsin one-dimensional. And if they can do that and find a way to slow Jonathan Taylor down, Ohio State could definitely win this game by more than 14. This will also be the toughest game that Ohio State has played this year. They played some okay teams, Cincinnati, was it Michigan State? Nothing like what they'll face here at home against Wisconsin. I'm going to take the road team, Wisconsin, to keep it closer than 14. Now, maybe some of this is me just wanting this to be a good game. I've just been excited to watch this game for really 4 or 5 weeks. We sort of knew Ohio State was going to be pretty good. Wisconsin was a little bit of a surprise, looking as good as they did. And I've just been looking forward to this game for so long. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it here. Maybe part of it is hope and me wishing that this is going to be a good game. I'm going to roll the dice here. I do think Ohio State wins the game there at home, but I'm going to take Wisconsin in the 14 points. Number 5, Oklahoma takes their much improved defense on the road this week to face Kansas State under first-year coach Chris Kleeman. This comes on 12 o'clock on ABC. Oklahoma ranked 5th, 23.5-point road favorite. Again, I'm going to take the underdog here to cover. I think Kansas State can keep this game closer than 23.5. Kansas State's going to try to run the ball and slow this game down. Oklahoma, of course, wants to go pretty fast, score a bunch of points. I'll be interested to see here how this Oklahoma defense does against Kansas State. Talent-wise, Kansas State doesn't have any business competing with Oklahoma, but I do like their coach. Kansas State's a pretty disciplined team. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes. I like a lot of underdogs this week to cover these spreads. Last week, I liked a lot of the favorites. This week, I like a lot of the underdogs to cover. I'm going to take Kansas State. I do think Oklahoma wins by probably 3 touchdowns, but I'm going to take Kansas State to keep it under the 23.5-point spread here. Give me Kansas State and the points. Number 20, Iowa on the road at Northwestern. It seems like Iowa's constantly ranked 20th, aren't they? They win 8, 9, 10 games a year. They're never great, never terrible. They got a pretty good defense this year. The offense has been kind of sluggish. Northwestern has been extremely disappointing. Pat Fitzgerald, usually you can count on him to win 8+, 9+ games a year at Northwestern. Again, never elite, but never terrible. Has been a down year for Northwestern, but they have played some of their best games of the year at home. Wisconsin was a pretty tight game. I'm going to take Northwestern. Again, I'm going to take the underdog here. Iowa's offense has not impressed me really at all this year. Their defense has played okay, but not great, I don't think. Maybe Northwestern pulls off the upset here if they can get it together. But again, I don't know what I'm falling for a lot of traps here maybe. I don't know. I'm going to take the home team underdog again here. Give me Northwestern into 10 points. What about App State on the road at South Alabama? App State, another surprising team. Put them in the same category with SMU, can't you? Yeah, you can. They go on the road to play South Alabama. App State's ranked 21st. They're a 26.5-point favorite in this one, 12 o'clock on ESPNU. I do like the road team here. I think App State blows South Alabama away. I don't think 26.5 points is enough here. If you're a group of 5 team and you're trying to get to a New Year's Six bowl, I used to say this about Central Florida, but they're out of the picture now. But so if you're one of these group of 5 teams in SMU here with App State, only one of those teams is going to make a New Year's Six bowl, in my opinion. It's going to be the highest ranked one at the end of the season, right? You've got to not just beat people. You've got to absolutely destroy them. You've got to start impressing voters here to try to move up these polls. I know the playoff poll is all that matters, and that's not out yet, but still, point remains. Once they start putting the playoff poll out, you know, it's going to look a lot better if App State has beat everybody by 40 than if they struggled and beat them by 6 or 7. I'm going to take the road team here. Give me App State, lay to 26.5. Here's another good one here. Penn State on the road at Michigan State. Penn State comes in ranked 6. Michigan State has fallen out of the rankings. 3:30 ABC. Penn State's a 6.5-point road favorite. I'll say it all year. I don't care how many games Michigan State loses. I think they have one of the best defenses, not just in the Big Ten, but in America. Penn State had a huge home win last night over rival Michigan, holding off Michigan there at the end. A night game in Penn State, the whiteout, emotional, huge rivalry game, big win. Now you got to go on the road, quick turnaround here, on the road, and play a Michigan State team who's been disappointing offensively for the 2nd year in a row, but like I said, defensively has played really, really good. I'm going to take the home team here. In fact, I'm putting Penn State on upset alert. I don't know if I would play Michigan State outright here. I'm not sure if I would take them on the money line. You'd make yourself some pretty good money if you did and it hit though. But I am going to take them with the points. Give me Sparty and the 6.5. How about Texas at TCU? They dodged a bullet last week, didn't they? Texas, miracle win over Kansas, got outplayed for the majority of that game, hit a field goal as time expired to sort of win that thing. Now they're only a 1-point favorite at TCU. I think this is an overreaction. TCU is a pretty good team, upper half of the Big 12 for sure. They're one of the few teams that attempts to play defense out there. I don't think Texas is as bad as they looked last week against Kansas. If you saw my preview last week, I was hesitant to take Oklahoma or Texas to cover last week, again, because they were coming off of the Red River shootout. And you just see this a lot in college football. Big rivalry games, and then the following week, a team seems to underperform. Hard to get up 2 weeks in a row, especially when, you got your big rivalry game against a great team, then you got to turn around and play a terrible team. That's what happened last week with Texas having to play Kansas, and we saw what happened. I think Texas will rebound this week on the road against TCU. I do think they'll win this game. It could be a close game, but you're only giving up 1 point here. I just think Texas has been a better team this year than TCU. Is Texas back? Well, they're back just like I told you they were. They're back to losing 3 or 4 games a year. Will this be the third one? No. Give me the Longhorns on the road, late at 1 point. Maryland on the road at number 17, Minnesota. Minnesota's a 17-point favorite and undefeated. Yep, the worst undefeated team in America. It's not that Minnesota's a bad team. It's just they've struggled to beat some bad teams. I think Minnesota's a good team. I think they'll probably get to 10. Maryland. What in the hell happened to Maryland after the first couple of weeks? Nobody knows, but they have just been a terrible team over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the college football season. Give me the Golden Gopher, latest 17 in that. Oklahoma State at Iowa State, and Iowa State is the team that's ranked. They're 23rd and a 10.5-point favorite. This one comes on 3:30 on FS1. Iowa State is sort of like Iowa. They're not a great team, but they're not terrible. I like their coach, Matt Campbell. He seems to know what he's doing there. Gets the most out of the talent he's got available. Just nothing that overly impressive really about either team here. Oklahoma State, has the ability. Iowa State at home. Of course, you can't win at Iowa State. I think everybody has realized that by now. So I'm not calling for Oklahoma State to win this game, but maybe they keep it around 1 score and cover. Give me Oklahoma State, the mullet, Gundy over there. He's a man. I think now he's 46, though. Give me Oklahoma State and those 10.5. Boston College on the road at the Taters, and the Taters are ranked number 4. No, wait a minute. That can't be right. I must have wrote that down wrong. There's no way Clemson's ranked 4, is there? How's that possible? Seems like, I don't know. Seems like if Clemson was ranked 4, Clemson fans would be really mad. Oh, yeah, they are mad. Clemson's ranked 4th. They're a 34-point home favorite in this one, 7:30 on the ACC network. I'm going to take Boston College. I don't know what's going on with Clemson's offense. There's only been a game and a half, really, where their offense has looked anything like what we thought it would look like. Now, Travis Etienne's been amazing. Definitely one of the best running backs in college football. You talk about the running back, you're talking about Etienne, Swift, Jonathan Taylor, Hubbard from Oklahoma State. I still like Cam Akers at Florida State. He's just on a terrible team. I don't know about this, though. I just don't know about this one. This seems like too many points to me for Clemson. 34 points at home against Boston College. How many interceptions is Trevor Lawrence going to throw this week? If he throws 2, I think Boston College can cover. What's the over-under on number of interceptions Lawrence throws this week? I'm going to put the over-under at 1.5. Let me know in the comments. Does Trevor Lawrence throw more than 1.5 interceptions this week, or does he throw less than 1.5 interceptions this week? And how close does this game have to be for Clemson to drop in the rankings again? Let's see. They're a 34-point favorite. If they win by 30, how far do they drop? 5, 6? Maybe depends what happens in the Ohio State-Wisconsin game, right? We'll see. In any case, I'm going to take Boston College. They don't have a turnover machine for a quarterback, do they? No, but Clemson does. Give me Boston College and the 34 points. Another big game here. Playoff implications, maybe. Number 8, Notre Dame on the road at number 19, Michigan. Now, I don't think Notre Dame's making the playoffs under any scenario. I don't care what happens the rest of the season. I don't think Notre Dame's getting in. Michigan's obviously not getting in either, but they can play spoiler here, kinda. And this is strange. Michigan is favored in this game. When was the last time Michigan was favored in a big game? Oh yeah, last year against Ohio State, and they lost by about 40 points or whatever it was. This is a weird game here. I do think Notre Dame's the better team. This is the toughest game left on their schedule. I think Notre Dame finds a way to win this game late. They still think they have a shot at the playoffs. I don't. If they lose this game, though, no one will think they have a shot at the playoffs. Here's the thing with Notre Dame getting into the playoffs. What has to happen? Well, if Clemson goes undefeated, they're in. If Oklahoma goes undefeated, they're in. If Ohio State goes undefeated, they're in, right? And the winner of the SEC is in, whether they've got 0, 1, or 2 losses. We just know that. So if you're Notre Dame, you're saying, well, I need Oklahoma to lose, or Ohio State to lose, or Clemson to lose. Well, yeah, you do. But the problem with that's going to be, what about the loser of the Alabama-LSU game? Let's assume no matter which team loses that game, right, that's the only game they lose. That team is going to finish the regular season ranked ahead of Notre Dame. They just are. That just will happen. So you'll have a scenario if Oklahoma, Ohio State, or Clemson lose, you're just going to have a scenario where 2 SEC teams get in again. Notre Dame's not getting in with the 1 loss. They're just not. Join a conference. I'm sorry. I am taking you in this game, though. Don't even want the 1 point, but you might as well take it. It's not much difference to play it on the money line versus the spread. Give me the Crying Irish to win this game outright on the road. Arizona State on the road at UCLA. This one might be is this a lock of the week? Arizona State's been a good team this year. Not a lot of people talk about them. We don't talk much in general about the Pac-12 on this channel. When we do, it tends to be about the teams that are really good, like Oregon, Washington, and Utah, or the teams that are really bad, like UCLA or Southern Cal. Don't talk a lot about Arizona State. They're off to a good start this year, halfway through the season. Probably going to come in second in the Pac-12 South. They're only a 4-point favorite over a terrible UCLA team. I get it, it's a road game, but UCLA is just terrible, and Arizona State has been exceeding expectations, really going all the way back to last year when Herm Edwards took over there. I'm going to take the road favorite here. I think Arizona State could win this game by 3 scores. Give me Arizona State, lay to 4. Cal at Utah. For some reason, no line on this game. I don't know if this is an injury situation. I'm not sure what's going on here. There was no line on Bet Now this morning for some particular reason. Utah, I think, wins this game. Cal does have an upset or 2 under its belt over the last season or 2. They beat Washington earlier this year, 10 o'clock FS1 if you're bored and can't sleep and want to watch this one. Utah wins without a problem. I don't know what the spread is. My guess would be that if the spread does come out, it would be somewhere around 14 to 17 points. I think that's what they'll win by. Give me the home team, Utah. All right, last up, we got Washington State on the road at Oregon, 10:30 ESPN. Oregon coming off a rivalry game last week where they beat Washington. A lot of times I would be hesitant to take a team in that scenario. I talked about Texas, Oklahoma, and then Texas struggling against Kansas earlier in the video. I think Oregon's got a better shot to make the playoffs than Notre Dame does. That's the other, I didn't even mention that, but okay, let's say Ohio State or Oklahoma or Clemson loses and Notre Dame thinks they can get in. I don't think they will. You got the second SEC West team that could get in. If you don't agree with that, what if Oregon runs the table and finishes 12 and 1 and their only loss was a close one, week 1 to Auburn? They would get in over Notre Dame. So the point is Notre Dame's not getting in. Oregon playoff hopes slim, but still alive. I think they get a home win here over the Fighting Mike Leaches, the Washington State Weirdos. I'm going to take Oregon and lay those 14.